clawed onto the dolphin as it goes up and under, and like kind of like, hey, I love it up here. I hate it down on the water, but I love it up here.
You know what else is a really good movie for kids? Atlas Shrugged, Part 1.
Yeah, you saw that, didn't you?
Gotta teach those kids early that, what's yours is yours, and your way is the right way, and you should never help anyone. Altruism is for assholes. Don't ever, ever help anybody.
Charity is for losers, man.
Yeah, I saw Atlas Shrugged on Saturday. I'm still trying to figure out why I went and saw that, but, work-related reasons aside...
Holy shit.
There is no reason I would have ever gone to see that movie because, let's face it, I'm not an Ayn Rand person. Ayn Rand, whatever.
The sum total for people like you and I that she has made in the grand achievement of Ayn Rand is basically BioShock to us. Like something
totally.
that took her philosophy and
it did make watching the movie totally fascinating, thinking about like the Andrew Ryan, Rapture Gone Wrong thing as like the John Galt stuff was being introduced very very slowly into the movie. So Joey, I don't know if you're familiar at all with Atlas Shrugged.
No, I never read the book. Don't even know much about it.
So the basic overview is that Dagny Taggart is this rail executive whose company is being run into the ground by government oversight, and also her shitty brother who is in bed with shitty politicians. This dude is a steel worker or owns a steel company that's making this magnificent new steel that the government wants to like put a stop to because it's going to put all these other companies out of business. And basically, if you are a champion of industry, the government wants to fuck you over. That's pretty much the movie.
And this is like a 1,200-page book or something?
It's long.
This is part 1 of 3.
Yeah, the movie is part 1 of 3. It's 100 minutes long. It kind of just ends in a very like Matrix Part 2 kind of way. Like it just is big cliffhanger, except that there's 2 more parts. And that movie is like the sum total of that movie is boring white people in suits in boardrooms yelling about how stuff is theirs. Like that is the whole movie is just people talking about like anybody who is on the government side of that is some sissy liberal ass who just wants to steal people's hard-earned dollars and like feed it into mediocrity. Like that there is no one in that movie that works for the U.S. government that is not a sniveling jackass.
It's curious to look at the Rotten Tomatoes for this because the tomato meter is 8%. Guess what the audience rating is?
High.
85%.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
That might be the biggest disparity between the two. So
there's 2 things to take away from that movie. One is that, of course, that's happening because it's it's talking to an audience that just wants to be told what they already know. Mm-hmm. Like they just want something that will tell them that yes, they're right for believing in what they believe in, which is the sort of like objectivist Tea Party kind of mentality of keep big government out of my my success, etc.
And to be fair, there are movies like that for the left's part of the political.
No. And I, honestly, if the second part of that equation, which is where I think the problem comes in, is that it's a terrible movie that does that, and they're championing it anyway just because it's something they will that is telling them what they want to hear. The problem is that like the whole nature of Rand's philosophy, as I'm to understand it, is that is a champion against mediocrity. Mm-hmm. It's like people who are visionaries, people who work hard and do great things should be recognized and allowed to do their great things. This is not a great movie by any stretch. If there was another Atlas Shrugged movie, this is the movie the government would be like the one that came out. This is the movie the government would be like trying to prop up by taking the other movie down a peg. It's just total horseshit. It's like everybody in that movie is like some weird CG representation of a human being, except they're actual human beings. It's just dead dialogue, dead-eyed stares, and the railroads.
Yeah,
the railroads are the vision of the future in this movie.
It's set in like 2016 or something.
Yeah,
and it has economy collapse.
And it has that like a very home front-ish kind of like quick newsreel footage like thing of like. Oil prices are like gas is $35 a gallon, and this is like basically like dystopian kind of the world is falling apart. I think I described it as RoboCop in reverse. Like instead of like the corporations taking over everything, it's the government taking over everything while the corporations are being brought down. And it's just so it's just so unbelievably dull and uninteresting the entire way through.
It's funny to see that, especially in light of like the banking fiasco, where a lot of people who are part of the people who probably really love Atlas Shrugged think that they should not be regulated anymore because like the regulations are the cause of that.
Oh yeah,
instead of the deregulations that
No,
it's an interesting. It's interesting to think about that kind of stuff.
It is, but the problem is the movie goes to no lengths to try and make the people in it, like the people it's supposed to be, like the protagonists, like Dagny and the steel guy. There's no understanding of how they came into the power that they have. Like there isn't that sense of like I rolled up my sleeves and I made this mine. They just say that a lot. Like Taggart is like inherited the company from her father.
Yeah.
The steel dude, like, he says, this is my company. No one's going to take it from me. But there's no real understanding of, like, how he came to make these things his. Just that he made them, and ain't nobody going to take it from him.
Is that something that's lost in the adaptation, or is this loosely
honestly?
based
I
off
have
of...
never gotten through Atlas Shrugged the entire way. Like I've started and stopped it like 3 times because the writing is just so dense and elephantine that I can't take it.
She was a polemicist more than she was a novelist, really.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that to be disparagingly. She had ideas that she wanted to propagate through her novels, and a lot of people do. It's just, I can't read books like that unless they are. I can't read any book unless it's well written, even if it has an ideology that I agree with.
And that's the thing is like totally removed from the ideology. I can respect a movie even if I totally disagree with it. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with anything Ayn Rand stands for, but at the same time, if this was a well-made movie targeted at that audience, I could at least appreciate that.
Sure.
This is not a well-made movie at all.
That 8% Rotten Tomatoes, man. I don't know.
It's just so like there's just so little effort in any of it. Like in a weird way, I almost think it's like a kind of undercurrent commentary on the willingness of an audience like that to just take anything that tells them what they want to hear.
It did okay at the box office. I know it made
like 1.5 million.
It was in 300 theaters. Like you have to multiply that by 10.
It's like a $5,000 average or something. So it's not the worst.
People did seek it out.
Yeah,
I saw Henry's Crime.
I barely even know what that is.